What's up everyone, Alex here. Y'all gave me the title of JRPG content creator, even though I check out other games too, and honestly, I don't mind that. That said, I think it's good to venture beyond JRPGs and into the indies because they're doing some interesting things there. Take the mechanics of Souls-likes for instance. A lot of games in that genre are still pretty dang difficult, whether it's presented in full 3D, side-scrolling, or even in an overhead view. Pale Coins dares to answer the question of, what if we just use those mechanics in a game that's not so punishing? And thanks to the sponsorship from Lucas, the sole developer working on this game, I can finally say that Pale Coins manages to accomplish this goal and offer a depth of gameplay that lends itself to repeated playthroughs. And more importantly, you can play a slice of what I experienced right now on Steam by downloading the demo. So here's what you can expect to play from that little slice. Pale Coin's story revolves around the eponymous Pale Coins that's said to give power to the people who possess them. But there's one coin, the Champion's Coin, that is said to grant the wishes of anyone who possesses it. You are on a quest to retrieve said Champion's Coin, but to what extent will you seek it, I wonder? Such is the premise of this ambitious game, which its developer told me should take between 8 to 12 hours to finish. In a time when we have JRPGs reaching upwards of about 40 plus hours to beat, 8 to 12 hours for a single playthrough, along with the game's deep playstyle, easily makes Pale Coins a more than worthy play away from those lengthy games. But let's sit back for a moment and talk about the mechanics it borrows from Souls-likes, because I think that Lucas did a smart job picking and choosing which ones to implement here. The biggest one is that Pale Coin's various weapons have different swing speeds, which can leave you open to attack if you're not careful. This can make things deadly for folks who choose to wield heavy weaponry, thinking its damage can make quick work of enemies, only to be overwhelmed by other foes nearby. I personally love this style of stick-then-move type of combat, which forces me to be more mobile and be aware of what's happening around me. I also think that its combat, with its variety of options, including ranged attacks like bows and magic, is what will have you replaying the game over and over, as Pale Coins offers a lot of variety and depth in its combat, even with its many streamlined features. And that's just the combat. Like in most Souls-likes, you'll also be spending points to boost your different stats, which also helps you equip various weapons. And the kinds of weapons you get are varied, with different stats, perks, and even comes with secondary actions that can help you be nimble during combat. Both running and utilizing these secondary actions utilize the game's stamina meter, so you'll have to be mindful of that. I also appreciate that the game doesn't have weapon degradation, which allows us to enjoy the weapons that we have and be proficient at it. The game also has a crafting system where you pick up blueprints and materials and take them to the blacksmith to craft, but that unlocks after he returns to camp. More on this later. As with my other sponsorships, I am allowed to talk about the games in however way I want, so I want to take a moment to address the one big issue that I had while playing Pale Coins: finding the wizard and the mine. Early on in the game, you'll be tasked with finding a wizard who may know of the existence of the Champion's Coin. To accomplish this task, you'll have to piece together clues from different NPCs to narrow down his location. The trouble with this is that the location is hidden behind foliage, and the icon representing the cave or dungeon has never been introduced before, so it's kinda like finding a needle in a haystack if you didn't know what the needle looked like. Also, the mine that you're told to go to later is located in an inconspicuous location in the main camp, which I found just by stumbling towards it. As a general rule, things like dungeons, caves, and mines are often sought out at the edges of maps, with the general location surrounding it having a clearing of sorts to help visibility. I get that we're looking for the wizard and that's part of the challenge of the quest, but hiding it behind foliage and not even telling us what that cave would look like makes us assume certain things based on our own experience, and doesn't help us understand the game world and its language. I honestly don't know what the solution for this is, but I hope that the developer can find a solution that can help make things less obtuse. This all leads me to one of Pale Coin's coolest features: branching storylines. Remember when I mentioned a blacksmith who needed a hammer? In the demo, you can choose to give that hammer to the blacksmith, or you can give it to someone else for a different reward. I don't want to outline all of the different quests that have this sort of thing. But most of Palecoin's quests have more than one possible way to solve them, each resulting in different outcomes. What's also great about all of this is that there's a journal where you can keep track of your progress for each quest, should you find yourself away from the game for an extended period of time. This is a very nice consideration even for a game that's relatively short, especially when you compare it to the other massive RPGs out there. And the ability to alter the outcomes of each of the quests also adds to its replayability, making you curious about how things will play out differently and seeing if there's a more efficient way to go through the game based on your own playstyle. Another thing that I appreciate about Palecoins, thanks to its shorter length, is that finding new weapons and armor is far more common when compared to Souls-likes. Early on, I remember finding a two-handed club whose swing covered a fairly large area, so I was able to attack enemies through corners and walls and such. Later, I found a fire sword that sadly didn't set any enemies on fire during my time playing, but it had cool fire visual effects nonetheless. These weapons and armor have different modifications, affixes, and skills that you'll be able to play around with depending on how you want to play. Again, lots of gameplay depth here. A little note about Palecoin's availability. As with most indie games, it's difficult to work on a game on all of the available platforms simultaneously. So PC, and by association, Steam Deck, are currently the only platforms in consideration. The focus right now is to make these versions of the game the best they can ever be first, before thinking about other platforms. Though I've been told that Lucas thinks it'd be cool to play the game on the go on Switch and see it running on other consoles as well. Finally, what's great about all of this is that you can play the Palecoins demo right now. So follow the link in the description and the pinned comment to play the demo. And if you can do me a favor and add Palecoins to your wishlist, it will let Lucas know that you're excited for the game he's making and that you can't wait to play it. Every little action tells him that what he's working on is truly special, and I hope you see this when you get a chance to play the demo as well. If you do play the demo or are curious about anything in the game, post them in the comments below so we can talk about it. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.